What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Zach Hankins for the $20 donation via the Cash App. Much respect to him for showing love to Too Raw for TV. Once again, showing love. All right, so this is a video request. Someone wanted me to talk about Paul George. And I'm a little bit late on talking about this. I think I was on my little hiatus at this time when this happened. So Paul George signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. They were the only team available that was able to sign him to a max deal. I forgot the terms of his contract. I want to say it was 200 something million over maybe 3 years or 4 years. It was I forgot the length of the contract. Might have been 4 years. But anyway, apparently he wanted to go to the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors wanted him, but the Clippers, being spiteful, and usually teams don't want to trade assets, especially valuable assets, to conference or division rivals. So Paul George is now with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this past season, Paul George, in some ways, at least by the numbers, had a career year. He shot a career high 47% from the floor, shot a career best 41.3% from beyond the arc, shot, I believe, over 90% from the line, 22.6 points. He had a great season. But the knock on Paul George, obviously, is that in big game situations, during moments when you need your star player to step up, he comes up short. That's not just something that I'm just pulling on my butt. That's something that has been noticed about Paul George for quite some time. Hence the notorious moniker Pandemic P, or Playoff E, or Playoff Empty, or whatever, however you want to spin it. Will he be any different in Philly? Well, time will prove that, whether or not he'll be any different. I'll say this. There's definitely going to be eyes on him to see how he fits with this new team. This is a team that's pretty damn loaded. I mean, you already have Joel Embiid, who was the 2022-23 league MVP. Tyrese Maxey is on this team. I believe Eric Gordon is a new member of this team. I think they signed someone else. Who am I forgetting? Someone else they acquired. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but this is a team that's pretty loaded right now. They still have Kelly Oubre there. So I'm thinking. In fact, let me see if I can see their projected starting lineup. Just trying to check something out here. So Embiid obviously will be the starting center. Tyrese Maxey will probably be the point guard. At shooting guard, it's going to probably be a battle between Eric Gordon and Jared McCain. Whichever one of these guys is playing better will probably be the starter. Eric Gordon, of course, is one of the better offensive players over the past 15 years, though he is getting older. At small forward, it's going to be Paul George. At power forward, it'll probably be Kelly Oubre. And at center, Joel Embiid. Of course, Tobias Harris left in free agency, so he's no longer with the squad. Look, this team is expected to contend, so there's definitely going to be a spotlight on them. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm more looking at Joel Embiid, okay? I'm more looking at Joel Embiid than Paul George, because this isn't Paul George's team. Not that the Clippers were his team, but at least you could argue with the Clippers, Kawhi was the greater player, yes, but they both arrived at the same time. So they both had expectations put upon them. Because remember, before Paul George joined the Clippers, he was balling in OKC. At one point in time, the first 4 months of the 2018-19 season, when he was playing with Russell Westbrook with the OKC Thunder, he was a top 3 or 4 player in the NBA at one point in time. That's how well he was playing. Before he got hurt, Paul George was averaging, insane numbers. He was leading the league in steals, I think, at one point in time. I think he was averaging, for a month, he was averaging 28 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, over 2 steals, playing high level on defense. Was at one point in time a defensive player of the year candidate. He was playing at a high level. Then again, I always make the argument, for all of the knock that Russell Westbrook gets, when Russell Westbrook's playing off of another star player, that player often has career years. Let's just look at the history. Kevin Durant was leading the league in NBA scoring, won a regular season MVP playing with Russell Westbrook. Then I just mentioned Paul George in the career year he was having in 2018-19 before the injuries. He played with James Harden. That was the last year James Harden looked like vintage James Harden, averaging 34 points a game. Then he plays with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal wins the scoring title that year, averaging 31 points a game, if memory serves me correctly. I think he won the scoring title. Or no, he didn't. No, he didn't. But he came in second. He came in second in scoring, I think, to Steph Curry, averaging over 30 points a game, 31 points a game, something like that. Then, of course, he plays with LeBron James. LeBron averages 30 points a game, contends with the scoring title, playing with Russ. So anyway, I kind of went a little long with that point, but yeah, to me, look, it's going to be on Joel Embiid. This is his team now, right? This is his team. So no, I'm not going to be looking at Paul George like that, like all of a sudden this is his team and he has to prove he can win. No, Joel Embiid, that's his squad. Okay. At this point, he should have, if healthy, he should have the assets good enough to get out of the damn second round. You could argue this is the most stacked Philly team since the team with Dr. J and Moses Malone and Andrew Toney and Maurice Cheeks, young Charles Barkley. This is the most stacked Philly team since then. There's no excuse anymore for Joel Embiid. Okay? No excuse. No excuse anymore. Okay? Everybody put the blame on Ben Simmons. Then they put the blame on James Harden. And we rightfully did. Okay? Now you got an overall even more talented squad. You should be able to lead this team past the second round. But there's the one thing we all got to look at more than whether somebody's going to make a clutch shot down the stretch, which we can't foresee, but we all know that possibility is there. They both have both have a history of not playing up to expectations in the postseason. But more importantly, Joel Embiid and Paul George have a history of injury. And that's the thing that will have to be borne out. Paul George, I mean, ever since he suffered that grueling injury back in 2014 in that summer game, um, ever since then, he's been a lot more injury prone. Joel Embiid, I don't know if it's a combination of weight, his size, the way his body's structured. I don't know what it is, but he seems to break down during the course of a season. And, you know, that's the thing that people are going to be looking at with this team. Can they stay healthy? Can they stay healthy? Now, it helps that Paul George is not going to be, say, in a position where he's the man. This is Joel Embiid team. This is his team. And you can actually argue that there's a possibility that being that Paul George has turned 34 and Maxey is in his 20s, I think he's in his mid-20s, right? You can argue that Paul George may even be in the third option in scoring at this stage of his career. He may be third scoring. So this might be a role that's more comfortable with Paul George, where he's not having the expectations of winning all on his shoulders, which is kind of what he was going through in Indiana, you know. And another thing with Paul George is he seems to play better when the pressure or spotlight is on someone else. One of the things I've read about Paul George, I don't know how true this is, but I've read that the pressure can get to him. The pressure can get to him, and we saw that with that shot that hit the backboard back in the bubble. So I'm just going to say this. With this team, they could definitely win it all if everything goes right. But there's also a possibility that everything can go wrong and they could wind up I won't say miss the playoffs, but they can wind up, you know what I'm saying, being out in the first round in a surprise upset. So that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.